punishment doesn't necessarily mean discipline. So when we are in that place of constant anger and strife towards our children, we are punishing them, but not necessarily disciplining or discipling them. Hello, my name is Bukola Jolobo from the First as Kiki, and welcome to another episode of our series Forgiveness. Today I want to quickly talk about the impact of strife and unforgiveness on our children. If you like, maybe let's say I want to talk about how we as parents abuse our children because or based on the things we carry in our mind, because based on the strife or the unforgiveness that is deeply rooted inside of us as parents onto our children. And this is where we're talking about, the way we behave to our children. A lot of the times we do a lot of things to our children and we think is all right because of anger, because we find it so difficult to forgive our children. In my last video, I remember I was talking about, how you should train yourself, how we adults and parents should train ourselves to forgive the people we love, our loved ones ahead. Also, when this is not done, the way we relate to our children, because we relate from a place of anger, a place of strife and unforgiveness, before we know it, we begin to react and respond to our children from that angle. And then instead of training them, we find ourselves constantly punishing them. And when punishment is not properly channeled, it becomes abuse. And that's where we're constantly punishing our children, which means we're constantly abusing our children. When punishment doesn't necessarily mean discipline. So when we are in that place of constant anger and strife towards our children, we are punishing them, but not necessarily disciplining or discipling them, as I would love to interpret discipline. So what should we do as adults? What should we do as parents when it comes to disciplining? Unforgiveness and strife. Learn to talk about things, not shout, not yell, not get angry about things, but learn to talk about things. Traditionally, I know we find it very difficult to sit down and reason with our children. But one thing that I always remind myself of is the Bible passage that says, "Come now, let us reason together." There is a place of reasoning between us, our adults, parents, and our children. Also, another thing that we can do to help ourselves come out of that place of strife and unforgiveness with our children is to constantly check ourselves. What are your triggers as parents? And once you identify your triggers, do something about your triggers. Do not just leave them as triggers. And then constantly when things happen and you talk about them, open your mouth and say, "I forgive you and I love you." In fact, there's this thing I say to my children: there is nothing you can do that can make me stop loving you or not forgive you. I hope this is helpful today.